Yes, invisible. Good evening, teachers. Am I audible? Good evening, teachers. Today, welcome you all on this webinar. And my topic is challenges in post-COVID schooling. It wasn't too long ago when we all thought that COVID will get over in 2 weeks. Cut to 2 years and 1.5 lockdown later, we are still on the verge of another wave. Things haven't gone normal. Uh, Things haven't gone back to normal. And ironically, the definition of normal is quite different from what it used to be before COVID. Our new normal includes um, our new normal includes shared screen instead of blackboard. Then uh, include sorry classroom share screen instead of blackboards, and mute yourself instead of raising your hands, and many more. Without without downplaying the effect of COVID and any other professional group, it is very important to tell that it has a very adverse effect. It has affected the education sector the most. Never before has the school been closed for such a long stretch of time due to man-made or natural calamities. Students are at home, and every now and then they are bombarded with the messages that generate fear in them. Somebody is there, let me admit. Just a second, hold on. I have to admit. Share the screen. Now I'll be sharing the screen. Will we tell about the module of this session? Hold on. Slide. Just a second. Don't admit anyone. Okay, I'll not be. It's not being forwarded. Just a second. Yeah, about this module. This module is about creating awareness among students, teachers, and other stakeholders about precautions which is related to COVID-19 virus. As well as in this module, we are going to address the issues and concerns in school education, particularly regarding addressing the challenges related to post-COVID education. Now, it will also help us to understand the roles and responsibilities of the stakeholders, be it school administration, teachers, parents, staff, and this module will also help us to adopt suitable assessment methodologies as well as concerns which are related to mental well-being of the students. Next slide in this objective, the objective of this module is after presentation of this module topic, the learners will be able to they'll be able to describe the nature of COVID-19 and the challenges which are posed by the functioning of the schools. The learners will be able to follow the safety measures to ensure health and well-being of students and other school functionaries. Thirdly, they'll be adopting various activities to promote learning in school. Fourth, they will be able to use learners-friendly assessment methodologies. Fifth, they will be able to develop student-friendly practices so that their mental well-being of their students are enhanced. Next slide will tell us about the content which is reflected in this module. That is, you can see in the screen. That is identification of COVID-19, challenges which are we going to face on the school education. This topic is going to be the base. I'm going to focus more on the challenges to school education. Preparations before opening schools. What are the preparations to be done before opening the schools? Social distancing norms has to be followed. What will be the learning assessment? And how are we going to facilitate mental well-being among the students? We all are aware about the recent outbreak of COVID. The country also witnessed the process of lockdown and the process of unlocking in phased manner. We all know that sooner or later, the school will start functioning. So it is essential, therefore, that the stakeholders, be it the school administration, teachers, staffs, parents, as well as students, need to be prepared themselves before this opening of the school. It is our responsibility to make students aware about the nature of the disease and precautions to be taken. So in next slide, I will be showing you about what is COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 is a disease which is caused by a new strain of coronavirus, where CO stands for corona, VI for virus, and D for disease. The symptoms are very much similar to the flu or the common cold. Rarely, the disease can be fatal. And we all know this, that the virus is transmitted through direct contact with the respiratory droplets of an infected person. The COVID-19 virus, it can survive on the surface for several hours, but simple disinfectants can kill it. We have the vaccine for the age group above 15, but currently there is no vaccine for the age group below 15 for COVID-19. However, if early cares are given from the healthcare provider, this disease can be less dangerous. My next slide goes to the challenges to school education. This is the main point. This is the main thing which we are going to face after the post-COVID. There are several challenges which we are going to face after the post-COVID, and new challenges and new solutions will enhance the growth of the academic situation. Now, first I'll be talking about of the first point with the challenges which are going to have, that is creating awareness, alertness, and caring about COVID-19. We all know that prevention is better than cure. The early detection of symptoms of the disease is in a person is the first step. And if we ignore it, that won't be an excuse. Awareness is the key for making everyone prepared to take care of them, of self, as well as others. So generating awareness through their various means like mass media and print media with regard to the symptoms of COVID-19, as well as other aspects such as do's and don'ts, right method of hand washing, use of sanitizers, mask, that is important. Displaying posters at prominent places, that will also help in gaining information and knowledge about COVID-19 and the methods how we can fight against this. Next is prioritizing health, well-being, and sanitization. Reopening of school after closure requires many considerations to be followed. And if done well by the stakeholders, we can maintain the well-being and the health of the students. So it is the responsibility of each and every stakeholders to rise up, take the occasion to rise up and take the opportunity to shoulder the responsibility so that they can maintain a safe environment in the school, so that no one gets infected by this virus. Now, the third challenge is maintaining social distancing. The present situation, it expects us all to be more socially responsible and execute our duties as human beings by distancing ourselves from other people as far as possible. In school, to follow social distancing by the kids is quite difficult. There are many impulsive students, those who find difficulty in putting the brakes and thinking upon the actions. Sometimes they feel they have to talk to their friends, or they want to play with their friends. So they will come too close to each other, and without realizing the consequences. Without realizing the consequences. So we have to frequently tell them. So we have to frequently tell them that social distancing is very much crucial. It is important for them. Do gaz ki duri hai zaruri. We have to every time remind them this, that they have to maintain a distance of 6 feet. Next challenges is creating stress-free learning environment. Uh, Children are under too much pressure to fulfill the expectations of society as well as the parent. And top of that, now this COVID-19 has put them extra stress to the overstressed children. So we have to, and we know that if too much stress is there, that will impair their health and mental well-being. So to create a stress-free learning environment, we can follow some practices, like we can encourage physical activities like mock drills, and some micro yogic asanas we can do. Then we can have some collaborative activities, then role plays and all. Then we can talk no to the bullying. This is one of the main concern which will come during after post COVID. So the school educators, the educators should have a strict no bullying policies in the school. And the last one, the point which can be taken into account in this stress-free learning environment is that we should build up the building culture of resilience. Now, in simple word, this resilience means bouncing back from difficult experience. Like I can give you an example, like if a child fails in an exam, then instead the teacher remarks negative comments like, what, you cannot pass a simple exam, then what will happen in your future? So instead of giving them a negative remarks, we can tell them that marks are just a number, it is a temporary one, and you can bounce back and do better next time. Next challenges is practicing child-friendly teaching methods. So in a school, we have to come up with some friendly teaching methods, because children are too much for quite 1-2 years they are at home, and coming back to school, it's very quite difficult for them. Still they are in the fear psychosis is prevailing in them, that what if we go to the school and again we get infected, then so on. So we have to talk about them in friendly manner, that how they spend their time during the lockdown period, and what are the activities, what are the fears in them. So we have to have an open communication with them. Then we have to discuss with them good hygienic practices. We have to reinforce in them the importance of things like regular hand washing, wear of mask, and this all we can do by some drawings or storytellings or some role play methods. Next is focus on experimental learning. Now this now focus on experimental learning. We have to learning should be active, it should be challenging, it should be relevant, and it should be collaborative, so that deeper engagement is be created. And whether you are doing it offline or you are doing it online. So we have to practice some experiential learning, like nature walk is there, some model has to be prepared, that all we can do it. Then motivating for self-studies. Going through this, the next topic is motivating for self-study. Going through a period of change is very, very challenging, and emotionally it is too much drains this for a person. So we have to tell to children to take some time to adapt to this new situation. We have to tell them that it's okay if your timetable is you are a little bit lagging behind the studies, so you can make it up by by creating your own space, by focusing more on studies. So we have to regularly motivate the children, because coming from the online, switching over to the online mode, to the offline mode, it takes the time. We have to give them ample time so that they can adjust to this new timetable. Then, ensuring learning outcomes. So learning nowadays, what is happening, this education system. Education is based on competencies. It's instead of acquisition of knowledge. Now the education base is based on competencies and gaining of skills. So we have to tell them, we have to make our learning out. We have to make us we have to make competency based learning outcomes in various subjects in different grades, with learning outcomes to focus in teaching learning processes during this COVID period. So what we can do is, in the first period, in the first week prior to this post-COVID, the formal teaching should be put on hold. Instead of that, rather we should try to devote our time to acclimatize students to follow certain new practices, like they have to be prepared themselves for mental preparations. Effort should be made. Effort should be made so that they can. Effort should be made so that they can be aware of this COVID. Aware. We have to aware them about this COVID-19. We have to tell them about practicing safety norms and exercises. Some mock drills can be done. Sorry. Next challenges which we are going to face is digital online education. In the first time in the history of Indian education system, there has been switching over from face-to-face interaction to the online mode. We live in this COVID era where physical participation in the classroom is not possible. So there are different types of apps are there, like this digital, Google Classroom, Google Meet, Zoom meetings are there, which gives us universal and uniform knowledge and accurate information and knowledge, which overall creates the same school-like experiences. But the children, those who are coming after online classes to the offline classes, they face difficulty now in because they have earlier they were reading the on the screen, and they have forgotten about the practices. Handwriting is also is very horrible, I can say now. So when they come back to school post COVID, we have to tell them to focus more on reading and writing. Reading should be done. We have to tell them to at least read a paragraph, so that wherever they go, they can carry a book and read at least one paragraph. And handwriting also, obviously handwriting also, we have to focus on that. Providing, next challenges which we are going to face is providing counseling services in every school. The stress management in different children, that is different for different kids. So we have to provide a counseling services in every school, because this guidance and counseling, they are important for children, and schools have a huge role in bringing out the best in the school, in the students. So during this pandemic, when all of us are in dilemmas at what is going to happen next, the students are also at the same pace. They also are in dilemma and trauma, that what is going to happen next, whether the school is going to open, or whether they are going to conduct only the offline classes or online classes. They are in a fix right now. So through counseling, children are given advices on how to manage and deal with the emotional conflict and personal problem. Next, challenges which I feel we are going to face after post-COVID education is teachers, parent, community participation. This COVID crisis is not over yet. We have to organize some teachers, parents orientation should be there, where we can tell parents that Their children, when they come to school, they are at the safest zone. School is following all the SOPs, which has to be followed, which has been given by the according to the guidelines of the government. We are following all the SOPs, thermal screening, uh, use of sanitizers, wearing of mask is all being monitored in the school. So we have to take the parents in confidence that yes, when your children are back to school, they are at the safe place, safe zone. And plus, we have to tell parents also that if the children, if their child, if the ward is sick, then they have to inform the students. They have to inform the school authority so that extra care can be taken of that particular child. I hope these are the challenges which the school education is going to face. And I'd like the participants to just drop in the chat box what are the challenges which they are facing because our school has been open for 1 month, 1.5 months it was. Then we have done the schooling, offline schooling. So what are the challenges which you faced? So you can drop it down in the chat box. Now coming to the next slides. Yeah, next slide will tell us about the do's and don'ts during COVID. What are the norms which we are going to follow in do's and don'ts? Like we have to follow the good respiratory hygiene, that is covering your mouth and nose with bent nose like this. We have to become the role models. We have to tell them by the action. Then dispose of the used tissue immediately as droplets spread virus. Then we have to follow self-isolating by staying at home if you're not well. Then if you're going outside, then you have to wear mask and all. So these are the general information which we have to give to the students well in advance. Next slide. Next slide, this is the steps of washing hand. This we can show it to our students. These videos can be shown to our students. I would like to show this video. Play this video right now.
Hand washing should take you about 1 minute. Use a timer or count from 1 to 10 in each of the following steps. Wet hands with water and apply enough soap to cover all surfaces of the hands. Let the water run smoothly to avoid touching the tap later on. Rub hands palm to palm to obtain a good quantity of foam. Then rub right palm over the back of left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub again palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked, repeating this action for each hand. Rub rotationally left thumb clasped in right palm and vice versa. To clean the tips of the fingers, rub rotationally backwards and forwards with clasped fingers of right hand in left palm and vice versa. Rinse hands thoroughly with running water. Dry hands thoroughly with a single-use towel. If the tap is not elbow operated, use this towel to turn off the tap without touching it directly. Your hands are now clean and safe.
Now these are some slides which will tell about the responsibility of administration, like provision of food should be there, appointment of teachers, capacity building of teachers, clean and disinfect school buildings, classroom and kitchens, increase airflow and ventilation in classroom, ensure safe preparations and services of food if hostel facility is there then. Next slide, I'm running short of time and I have many slides to show. So ensuring safety, this all we have discussed earlier in the challenges. So just have a look at the slide. We have to maintain social distancing, disinfect our hands. We require both face shield and face mask. So this all thing we have to inform our students so that they remain safe. Next is social distancing. We have to follow the social distancing norms. We have to maintain social distancing as it is an important safety requirement. So what we can do is in the school, when the school post-COVID, we can call half of the students at one day and the remaining half on alternate days, or in even days we can follow. Assignments and homework also we have to give simultaneously for the children, those who are not coming to the school. And the classes, like if there is class 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, and 12 may come to schools on the odd days, and the remaining classes, they can come on the even days. Implementations of social distancing practices. We have to cancel the assemblies, sports and games, and other events where the crowded conditions is there. And whenever possible, we have to, if possible, we have to create a space between children desks so that there is a social distancing is followed. Then if you're teaching the model, if you're creating, that there should be space so that unnecessary touching is avoided. Then if the staff or the students, they become unwell, they are not well, then we have to establish certain procedures so that others do not get infected. Now, mode of transport. We will encourage students, we will encourage the parents to come by their own means rather than using the private vehicles. Now, entry and exit of the students in the school. During the entry and exit of the school, students in the school, we have to do the thermal screening. We have to monitor everything, like they are wearing the mask, they're using the sanitizers, all the SOPs are being followed or not. Then practices to be followed during school hour. We have to tell them that they have to wash their hands frequently after 20 to 30 minutes. And we have to become a role model, as if the teachers or the staffs are wearing masks, then of course the students are going to follow it. Then there should be a distance of about 6 feet between the students. Group work, it can be done, but proper distance should be followed. And next, if there is a hostel, then this is for that. Batches, again, we can call half students will come in the hostel, others will not come. Next is responsibilities of the parents. Parents also they have also to monitor the child health and keep them at home if they are not well. Then good hygienic practices should be given to them by the parent. They have to ensure safe drinking water. Now, here's one video which I would like to show it.
This is Sarah. She is excited to be in school. She enjoys meeting and playing with her friends, especially with Abby and Adam. Sarah knows that things are different now due to COVID. She wants to keep herself, her family, and her friends safe. Let's see what Sarah can do to defeat COVID. Before leaving home, Sarah needs to be prepared. She should put on a mask and keep an extra mask with her in case one gets wet or dirty.